She was a sad person. She had a horrible, I'm not trying to psychoanalyze her, but she was terribly insecure.
Did you steal Trump's haircut or did he steal yours?
If you had just substituted the word black for white and any other person had said what she did and just said black instead of white, they would have been fired in 24 hours. She knew that too.
My show had value, and that, I'm sorry.
You know, I'm thrilled she's gone. She literally was the most racist person on television. Her and her most favorite guest, Eli Mistel.
You're fired. Get out. Get out. Get out.
That what I was doing had value. And in the end, I'm sorry, I try not to cry on TV. And I think this is kind of like being on TV, so I apologize.
In America, there's a thing about both white vigilantism and white tears, particularly male white tears.
DeSantis has been waging a full-scale war against the black past.
Trust Uncle Clarence. These Republicans are dangerous.
They can't get whatever job they want. A black person got it, therefore drive all the blacks out of the colleges.
I want to turn every state into their white Christian nationalist hell.
You remember Megyn, when she first got on, she had this whole paper trail of being a homophobe. You remember that? And then she said, I'm going to get the FBI to investigate because I was hacked. And then she completely lied on the air. She was never hacked. And then she said she may not have been hacked, but she couldn't. Then she said she was almost as if she was in a suspended state of...
Depending on who you believe, MSNBC anchor Joy Reid is either the victim of a sinister hack or someone with a long history of homophobic writings.
Animation. I may have written this, but I don't remember ever saying this. And it was so
Doesn't
pathetic.
sound like
she
me.
would have been... Yeah, she should have been fired for that. And then she had a big rant once, I remember, where she was mad that so-called white women had cornrows, and this was cultural appropriation, and she was going to wear authentic black hairstyles. And then all of a sudden she started wearing blonde. She dyed her hair blonde and straight.
She looked like Trump.
Wow. Yeah, and I thought, wow, you're culturally... why do you want to look like an Anglo-Saxon after you gave a lecture that nobody
Why
should
can't I
culturally...
wear the cornrows or have my daughter get cornrows in the Bahamas on a trip? But she can take my hair. She can try to imitate my hair, no problem whatsoever.
Do you think people with Trump derangement syndrome know they have it?
You're an idiot.
And second question, did you steal Trump's haircut or did he steal yours? Cultural appropriation, haircut right there.
What happened to your hair?
So all I'm saying is that she was a sad person. She had a horrible, I'm not trying to psychoanalyze her, but she was terribly insecure. And it came out, it just exuded from her, insecurity. And she was thrashing around. And it was really the problem of the management to put her out there. They should have yanked her from the very beginning. And that Eli Mistel, he was an outright racist. I remember he said right after COVID, I got used to not seeing white people anymore, and it was a good feeling.
Black people cannot save this country from white folks. We can't do it alone.
And he just said things that were, I mean, they were horribly racist, and they kept spouting that filth, and it was horrible. And nobody ever said anything. And then finally, her ratings had stayed. I don't think they were ever great, but the only reason they took them off is that people got sick of her after the election, or they would have kept her on. They were never bothered by what she said. They were just trying to adjudicate whether it was good enough to justify the advertisers. I don't know.
I mean, look, let's be honest. I don't think you were fired after all those years because of your skin color or because you're a black woman. I think you were fired because your show just got increasingly unpopular. It happens all the time in TV. That's why you got let go. Why play the race card?
But in all of the jobs I have had, in all of the years I have been alive, there is no colleague for whom I have had more affection and more respect than Joy Reid. I love everything about her.
Love you, love you, love you.
And so I'm not sorry. I'm just proud of my show.
I love the fact that your play the race card is your version of the race card. You literally are so fixated on trying to racialize conversations with me, Piers. I find it actually quite charming.
You racialize more conversations in your tenure at MSNBC than any host in history.
All right, Mark. All right, Piers.
Yeah, and one of the reasons they lost the election, there were many, but one of the reasons is that they were so anachronistic. They looked at these legacy media, NBC, ABC, CBS, PBS, NPR, LA Times, Chicago Tribune, Washington Post, New York, and they thought that because 60 Minutes, they thought that these were back in the 1960s or 70s with these huge ratings, and then they didn't realize that, Joe Rogan, your show, all these podcasters, all this, Fox is doing well, Newsmax had bigger than some of these people. There was and then there were online influence, there was a whole new media, and you think that these hip people from Silicon Valley were left-wing, would have told them or somebody, but they were very out-of-date, old fuddy-duddies, and they kept sending, they had an opportunity with Joe Biden at the Super Bowl. They had an opportunity with Kamala Harris to go on Joe Rogan. And they just were so either out of it and they didn't understand that the whole media world had changed, or they were afraid because they were not these sympathetic, obsequious, left-wing legacy interviewers. Or they had to pay them like Oprah or Cardi B or somebody. But whatever it was, they didn't understand the new media at all.
Joe, Donald Trump is literally Adolf Hitler.
You really think that? I don't know. I had him on, and it didn't feel like I was talking to Hitler.
Joe, what more evidence do you need? He's having a rally at Madison Square Garden that is just like the Nazi rally that happened there in 1939.
Racialize everything, Joy. Come on.
I get it. I understand this is your shtick, Piers. And listen, game recognizes game. I get this is your game.
It's not my shtick.
And the bottom line,
it was your
shtick. It is your shtick, and everyone knows that it is.
I have learned so much from her. I have so much more to learn from her. I do not want to lose her as a colleague here at MSNBC. And personally, I think it is a bad mistake to let her walk out the door. It is not my call, and I understand that, but that's what I think.
If you have someone like that is so egregious and just flat out lies, and then you keep her there, then that tells her, I can do anything on the air. I can say anything outrageous because I have done the most outrageous thing in the world, and they kept me here, and they knew that. And after that, they had no control over her because she always felt she could play the race card because she had. And the same thing with her guest.
She's a massive Trump hater. They all are on MS, but my God, this woman's unhinged. A few examples.
We've laid out the stakes in this crucial election, where one side stands for freedom while the other meets the textbook definition of fascism.
Still don't know for sure whether Donald Trump was hit by a bullet.
Donald Trump is being held to account by the very multicultural, multiracial democracy that he's trying to dismantle.
Look who's crying now.
My show had value, and that had value.
No, it had no value, Joy. It was just hysteria, lies, race-baiting, hyperbole, designed to agitate the ill-informed left who really don't need any further help in being angry and miserable.
Trump has those kind of voters. They are dedicated to him personally. They care more about him being happy than them being happy. He can do anything he wants to them. There's nothing you can do about it. It's a cult.
You're fired. Get out. Get out. Get out.
My show had value, and